Okay, so I'm going to walk through the string compression algorithm in JavaScript today. If you're not familiar with that or unsure if this is exactly the video that you want to see right now, basically you're supposed to take in a string, looks like this, and you're supposed to compress it and bring in the numbers here that represent the count of how many letters are in the sequence, with the catch being if the letter here in sequence matches a different letter somewhere else in the sequence, it doesn't get added to it. It's its own separate entity. So I'll walk through it real quick and show you how I solved it. So first thing I do is initialize the result and a count, because we're going to need a count. And we're just going to set that to an empty string, and we're going to set count to 0. So as you might have guessed, we're going to do a simple for loop. Okay, great. Now that we've got a for loop here, we need to actually set I to equal 0. So the first thing that we need to do here is we need to create a count. This is where you want to put it. And I'll just console log it here just to start. Give that a run. So obviously we're counting through every time we go through the loop, we're just incrementing count up. You can see there's 11 items in the string. We get 11. So now what we want to do is we want to break up that count and add the letters with the count into the result there. So the way I do this is test to see if the current letter is not equal to the next letter. And if it's not, we're going to take the result and we're going to set it to itself so that we can include all the other iterations of itself and basically build this up into the answer. And we're going to include the current letter that we're at plus the count. And if we run this right here, it won't quite work, especially because I'm console logging just count here. But you can see now we're actually getting an output here, but the problem is the count, right, is just incrementing all the way up here. So the last part that we need to do here is we need to set count to 0. We need to reset count every time we go through here. So I'll walk through how this works. First of all, we'll get the answer there. So a1b2c3d4a1. And to walk through the answer here to show you what it's doing, so every time it runs here, as I mentioned, right, the count is incrementing by 1. So when we get down to this part here and we go through and test to see if the place that we're at, the letter that we're at, is not equal to the next one. So in the first iteration here, count's 1, and we're at A here. Okay, string I, or A, is not equal to string B. So because it's not, we're going to run this code down here, and we're going to take result, which is an empty string, add onto it string I, which is A right now, plus the count, which is 1. So right now, it would just be set to A, reset the count to 0, and then continue in the for loop. So now, in the second pass here, we're at B, and when string I, and count's reset to 1, right? So when string I is at B, is it not equal to string I plus 1? Is B not equal to B? Well, it is equal to B, so these are the same. So this gets disregarded. We never reset count to 0. We come back through. Now his count is 2. So with count being 2, and right now we're at this point in here, we see that B is not equal to C. And because of that, we're going to run this down here. We're going to take result, which is currently A1, stuff into it, string I, which is B, plus the count, which is 2. Then reset the count and do the whole thing all over again. It's actually a pretty simple algorithm, but if you haven't seen it, it can be a little bit tricky. So the reason I want to make this video is to help out some other people, as well as I failed this in an interview because I had my count in the wrong spot. So hopefully this was helpful, and hopefully you enjoyed the video.